Okay, so welcome. Apologies for the confusion about having no QR code to sign. It did give us a bit of a slow start, but I'm so grateful that you've all made it here, and it's such a lovely, novel experience to be standing in a lecture theatre again after a year of being behind my computer screen and probably facing at least another semester of that, unfortunately. My name's Olivia. I'm your course coordinator for the Bachelor of Human Nutrition and for the Human Nutrition and Exercise Science combined degree, which is why I was asking you which pathway you were in today. So, welcome to Human Nutrition 2021. I'm still adjusting to saying that. Oh goodness, it's just going to be one of those days for... There we go. So just quickly want to acknowledge that the land we're on, meeting on today is Ghana land, and just to recognise our elders, past, present and future. So most of you probably have some idea of what's brought you into the human nutrition degree. Some of you might have been thinking, you like food, you want to do something with food. Some of you might be coming at it from more the healthcare perspective. I guess historically, nutrition's maybe not been the sort of well-known degree. It might have been more the dietetics degree that you've heard about that people have chosen to go and follow. But actually the human nutrition pathway is huge in terms of opportunities that we're going to talk about in terms of careers. It's got amazing transferable skills that you're going to pick up. And what you'll find as you go through your pathway for human nutrition is that the preventative health space is hugely growing at the moment. We're really recognising, funders are recognising that the key to long-term health outcomes is preventative health. So whereas dietitians have traditionally been trained to manage that acute care side of health in hospitals and when people already have disease and illness, nutritionists such as ourselves are ideally positioned to actually deal with the larger end of the spectrum, which is good health prior to disease and preventative health across the lifespan. So starting from infants, maternal health during pregnancy, all the way through to older adults. So as the slide suggests, what you put on your plate is the most important health intervention you can make. And for some of you in the room that are thinking you want to go on to a career as a nutritionist, you're going to be ideally positioned to guide what goes on people's plates, whether that be from policy or in a clinic room with them. So I'm sure you've all got a bit of an idea of what you're about to sign up for or have signed up for, but just to go over what to expect from us in the next few years. So those of you that have enrolled in the Bachelor of Human Nutrition, you're looking at 3 years full-time study. We do have part-time flexibility, which the Dietetics program doesn't. So that is a nice thing about our program. When we come to talking about your study plan though, I will talk to you about being very careful if you are choosing to study part-time, what sequence of topics you're going to choose to include, because we do have a lot of topics that are scaffolded or prereqs for each other in first and second year. And so it's going to be really important for you to get the best progression through your degree by choosing the right selection of part-time topics so as you're not adding extra time unnecessarily to your degree. So I can talk you through a little bit of that shortly. So our role as a nutritionist, which is what you will be known as once you come out of a Bachelor of Human Nutrition, a nutrition scientist or a nutritionist, your role is to promote evidence-based nutrition. So from that, hopefully you'll have an idea that we're going to be teaching you nutrition science and evidence-based nutrition practice. So this is what really differentiates us from these online 6-month courses that upskill various trades to talk about healthy eating. Those qualifications are not based on evidence-based practice. Those qualifications do not give you the skills to look through literature and evidence and to decide what's good practice and what's not so good practice. You can become insured to work as a nutritionist in a counselling setting. You can go and work in research, you can go and work in public health, and that's the differentiation with a 3-year degree in nutrition versus an online certificate. So welcome to this fantastic credential. Our role as a nutritionist is also about preventing illness, as I said, so it's in that preventative space. So we can counsel anyone that has lifestyle issues, risk factors, as long as they're not acutely unwell. So that is a significant amount of the population that we can have impact on with our role as a nutritionist, and we can be a change agent in that space. We're going to talk a little bit more about where you can work shortly, just to whet your appetites a little bit. For those few of you that I've met already that are in the combined degree, so that's a human nutrition and exercise science degree done over 4 years. So for you won't have any elective spaces when we come to talk about your study program, but you will have the ability to work as a nutritionist or an exercise scientist or in a job that has the option of using both of those skill sets. So you'll work very closely with us in nutrition, but also in the exercise science department, who have their orientation this afternoon at 2 o'clock if you're coming along to that one. So as you can see up there, I won't labour it and read every single one, but the career opportunities are so broad and diverse when it comes to nutrition. So working as a nutritionist in a very counselling role and a health management role is just one role of a nutritionist. You could be working as a project officer, a research associate. You could be working in government, in policy. You could be working for food industry, for Food Standards Agency or Kellogg's, advising them about label reading or redefining products to be more aligned with healthy eating guidelines. You could be working with charities, food bank. So the list goes on. And the great thing about what we teach you through our degree is the transferable skills. So if you come through the 3 years and go, oh, actually I'm a bit done with nutrition, I'm a bit done with talking about food for a little while, you have a host of transferable skills that you can take into allied professions. You'll know how to critique literature, you'll know how to write reports, you'll know how to communicate with people, either written or verbal, and the list goes on. So there's lots of opportunity for you moving forward. Who's already thinking about jobs? A few of you? Yeah. I think it's just the way it is, isn't it? You know, we're here for a reason. It's hopefully going to be a really good fun 3 years, but ultimately you want a job at the end of it. So just hoping to reassure you that while if you're doing seek searches now for nutritionist roles, you might not find lots coming up under nutritionist. If you start looking at jobs which have a nutrition flavour or a project officer type role, you would be eligible for most of those as well. And I have a little video from the careers section to play you as well, and I'll put that up on Flow for you around some of the jobs that our graduates have gone into. If, as I said, you decide you get to the end of your 3 years or your 4-year degree with us and think, oh, I actually haven't had enough study. I think I want to punish myself some more and come back for some more debt. Let's do some more study and change our direction a little bit, which some of us do. There are lots of options for you. So there is the Nutrition and Dietetics Masters if you've decided, actually, I want to work in that clinical space as well as the preventative space. There's the Master of Public Health if you've really sort of gelled with the community public health side of the role and want to further your qualifications there. You might decide to go on to do medicine. I might think you're a little bit nuts doing that, but some people do. Some people just want to get stuck in and into more than just nutrition. There's also options to do masters in some of the other allied health. You might end up getting really pally with one of the physio students who you might share a science topic with and go, oh, actually, that's sounding pretty good. There's the option to go on and do a master's there. There's a number of also graduate certificates that could lead into masters that you'll be eligible for with our qualification, such as disability, palliative care, health administration, the list goes on. It's extensive. And we're also looking at a pathway into the Master of Secondary Teaching with a science core background. So if you decide that the teaching aspect is what you really enjoy in that education perspective, you might decide to go on and look at teaching as a profession. Or you might come back to those in 10 years' time after you've worked as a nutritionist for a little while. If you're loving the research, there's also the opportunity to go and do a higher research degree via an honours pathway. So we offer honours through the health science discipline. So that is something you can apply for after 3rd year. Do 1 year of honours, and then you could apply for a PhD if you wanted to. So lots of options if you decide you love us so much you don't want to leave us. So we're hoping that through our curriculum we're delivering graduates who can provide quality nutrition practice in a wide range of settings. As I've mentioned, it could be in education, public health or health promotion. So a little bit about who the university sort of key people for you are. So you might hear of our president and VC, Professor Colin Sterling. So he's our head honcho. You might see him floating around from time to time, occasionally signing off on a bulk email, but probably not going to have too much face time with Colin in your career here. You might see Professor Alison Kitson floating around. She is very visible on campus and oversees a lot in terms of the college programming, delivery, research, very active in the Health to Go space, which is our clinical space. So she's a very important person within our college. And then other names that might come up quite regularly for you are Associate Professor Chris Bredner, who's our Dean of Education. So she tends to handle any academic integrity complaints or issues with course progression, and she is who signs off on any changes we make to our curriculum. And then we've got Professor Michelle Miller, who is sort of manages staffing, essentially. And then you've got myself as the BHN course coordinator, and then the other person you might see around about is Jolene Thomas. So she is the course coordinator for the Bachelor of Nutrition and Dietetics and the Master of Nutrition and Dietetics. So come down the line if you're thinking you might want to move into that pathway, she's your person that you would talk to about that. We also have a wealth of other staff. So we've got Jane with us this morning. Louisa is going to hopefully pop down at the end to talk to you about our mobility overseas program. She is in a tute this morning, so if she's running late, I'll just talk through her slides and she'll come and say hello. Obviously I'm up there as well, and you'll see a few of the other faces through first and second year of your studies, with several of the other staff predominantly teaching into the dietetics topics, like Alison Yaxley, for example. You probably won't see her very often. Mary McAllister is a community public health dietitian, and she'll be teaching you your final year public health topic. So there's a few faces to become familiar with. Where do we live? So we're actually all over at the hospital. So our department is based on the level 7 of Flinders Medical Centre. The picture there of our reception, that's what you tend to see kind of as you get out of the frog lifts on level 7 of the FMC building. Unfortunately, it's not a manned reception anymore. So our reception is a generic college reception, and it's been moved down to level 5 outside the medical library in the Flinders Medical Centre. So we don't have a dedicated receptionist anymore. If you want to meet with any of the staff that are involved in your teaching, or myself as your course coordinator, your best port of call is to email us, and we will try and find a time and a place that is mutually agreeable. And if you're visiting us in our offices, we'll usually come out and meet you at this closed up reception on level 7 and take you to our office, because we're a little bit tucked away. But we are there. We're not deliberately trying to hide. And if you need, there might be times where you might need an ID tag or something like that. The level 5 medical reception is where you would go for that. We also have a college reception, so for the whole of nursing and health sciences, and that is based on this campus as in the other building, so in the north building on the ground floor as you come through the cafe on your left hand side. So there won't be too many opportunities you need to come to those offices, but just should you need us. So let's make sure that everyone knows what they should be studying, because I guess that's probably the most burning issue at the moment. If you're full-time, ideally you're taking 8 topics this year, 4 in each semester. You can drop to 3 per semester and still be classified as full-time via Centrelink. So if that is something down the line that you're struggling and you want to drop off but you don't want to lose potentially Centrelink benefits, you can drop down to 3 per semester without losing those. But anything less than 3, so 2 or less per semester, is a part-time workload. You will be in lectures and labs and tutorials with other students from other programs, particularly in your first and second year. So you'll be in with the dietetics students for a lot of your topics. We have a shared first year. But you'll also be in with med science, maybe some health science, some of the allied health, just trying to think who else. Yeah, in your science labs, there might be quite a mix of who's going to be in there. So Do take the opportunity to get to know some of the students from other programs. Our program is relatively small compared to some of the others, so it's nice to branch out in terms of friendships. What you will find this year that's going to be unique again due to COVID is that most of your lectures will be online still. If you haven't already been told that, and if you've got a room number for your lectures, just check the flow site for that topic and with your topic coordinator to make sure that they're not actually going to be online, because some of us have been timetabled but actually we're not going to be there. The room will be dark and empty. We'll be delivering online. So that is purely for the reducing the risk of COVID and having to do all that contact tracing should we have another flare-up. There will, however, be some face-to-face tutorials for some topics, and labs and practicals will be scheduled as face-to-face. So just make sure that you're enrolling into the right sessions, that you're not getting clashes, because then we'll need to look at help with your timetabling if you're seeing clashes. And just to be aware not to go to lecture theatres for most of your topics. For those of us that are doing online lectures, we are planning on delivering them live, so we will log on at the time that it's scheduled for and deliver them live. The feedback we got from students last year is that helped them broker their time, and I think when it was just a bank of recordings, sometimes it was just too easy to just let it slide and not stay on top of those lectures. So actually having to sort of switch on at a certain time was helpful for those students. And also an opportunity to ask questions. So we will be doing them live, but they will also be recorded and available afterwards if you want to watch them later. So Human Nutrition and Exercise Science program are similar, but with some subtle differences. The first 3 years of the Human Nutrition program, the first couple of years in particular, are quite science heavy. So you are training to be nutrition scientists. So you may be a little surprised that there isn't more nutrition content, but the way the science topics are structured, we have to have them earlier on in the program. And this also helps us permit lateral transfer into the dietetics program at the end of year 2. So if any of you are thinking you might want to move across to dietetics, we need to keep the science in the current format that it's in to permit you to transfer across at third year. Whereas the third year topics are much more applied to nutrition. So kind of hang in there if you're not a big science person, because it does get better. So first year, you should all have study plans in front of you now. So first year should look like this if you're going full time. So new topics that have come into this year are the research and study skills topic in first semester and the Indigenous health topic in second semester. We've always had the Indigenous health topic, but it used to be a second year topic. In second year is when we start getting our first option topic spaces or electives, so they happen in semester 2, and there will be various streams of electives, so you can pick a mix if you want to, but there are also a sequence of electives that you can take, for example in ageing or in communications or in the nutrition dietetics stream, that will sort of be a bit more cohesive if you take them in sequence across second and third year. We're actually in the process of redefining those elective streams at the moment and looking at whether we could badge them as minors. So it may be that when you come to choose them in second year that you might have that option of picking up a minor if you want to. So more information on that will come as it's decided. And then in third year again, you've got several elective spaces. One of them we recommend doing a topic called independent studies, because that's your opportunity to do a placement. So unlike the dietetics degree, which has the 3 placements that are determined by Dietitians Australia, Nutrition Australia don't have a prereq for placement, but obviously we want to try and link you in with industry as much as possible through your time with us. So that's our opportunity to send you out to industry partners and to do real world projects with them to give you a flavour of what work might be like as a nutritionist. And there's a number of electives. Those will grow over time, hopefully, as more topics could become available depending on the prerequisites and the minor pathways. So they're just some that you can choose from at the moment. So don't worry too much about those just now. You can find all this information on the Flinders website under the Bachelor of Human Nutrition for the Programme of Study, and similarly for the combined degree there is a separate Programme of Study page as well. In the Exercise Science page, degree, double degree, you'll find that there's no option topic spaces because you are doing the double degree in a 4-year time frame. So each year you'll find you have a shared number of dedicated nutrition topics and dedicated exercise science topics, equaling to the same number over 4 years. So your study plan I've given out as well. Oh, it hasn't saved my changes from last night. But you can see, you should have that in front of you as well, the topics to choose from. Something that is also becoming more of an option, an opt-in option for you through your studies is the ability to come and join us in Health to Go, our clinical space here. We have an allied health clinic over at, just outside the cafe here on Sturt, where we see clients and have students come in and do some of those consults, group educations and screenings. So there's an opportunity down the line for you to also participate in that to get some skills up before applying for jobs. So as I said at the beginning, enrolling, you can do it through your student system, but any problems, raise and ask Flinders, request for enrolments to help with that. I'm more than happy to counsel you on study plan outline, but I can't help you with the actual enrolling into the topics. And there's some crucial dates here to remember, so I will put this up on Flow, but basically just to remember that Census Date is the 2nd of April, so this is the date by which if you think you might want to withdraw from a topic and not get charged for the topic, you must withdraw before the 2nd of April, and we'll send around a reminder. If you decide to switch topics at last minute, you need to do that before the 12th of March. The 14th of May is the last day you can withdraw without it showing as a fail on your transcript. And 18th of June is the last day to withdraw overall. So these are all on the Flinders website as well. I've talked through those. Just a reminder that we will communicate with you via your Flinders email. So if you missed some communications around orientation, it might have been because it was going to your Flinders email and not your Gmail or Hotmail account. So just remember to check that. We also have a Nutrition and Dietetics general information page. It is for human nutrition and exercise science students too, so don't be put off by the fact it says dietetics on there. We are a shared portal, so you'll see the human nutrition and combined degree have their own section, and I will post all the slides, videos and your course booklet today for you to see if you go into that page. There are a number of textbooks for the course. They will be in your course booklet. But just remember to maybe wait and have a look at your topic flow pages, which will have electronic reading lists. So you might find that a lot of the texts that you think you need could already be digitised and available online. So you may reduce how many textbooks you end up needing to purchase. And I'm here for support if you need me, along with health counselling, disability and the FUSA Student Assist and your Student Experience Coordinator. So I'm going to save the questions just for a minute, if that's okay, just because we're running really over time. I'm just going to introduce you to Jane, who has brought some mentors along as well, and she's going to talk you through her role with us.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this orientation. I'm also a lecturer, and I'm going to be teaching you next semester nutrition, physical activity and health. So those lectures will be online and the tutorials will be online. So I won't get to see you face to face, so it's good to meet you today. So my other role is the Student Engagement Coordinator. So what that is to engage you as students beyond your studies, beyond your lectures and tutorials, and to communicate with you. So if you are finding that you are having some problems either within your topics or in general, or issues at home, or you're struggling in some way, then I'm the contact person for nutrition and for dietetics for you to email me, and we could either have a phone call. So what I've done with students is I've rung students regularly throughout the semester that have been struggling and helped them with strategies. I also refer on to other services. We've got some great counselling services here, or I might refer you to Olivia if it's regarding specific things regarding your study plan and you're not sure whether you want to continue with a particular topic or not. And the other thing I do is oversee the mentoring program, which I would encourage you all to be involved with. Get to know one of the students that have been through what you've done already. So as a reminder, you're here not just to study, so it's important to think about how you're going to look after yourself, those that self-care sorts of things, getting enough sleep and exercise, having some opportunities to debrief with people, and there are people to debrief with at the university, and I'm one of those, and Olivia is as well as friends and family. And being aware of those stresses that are happening. So if you're finding that you are struggling, actually I would encourage you to seek help earlier rather than later. If you're finding that you're not getting assignments in, or you're not understanding or not keeping up, or there's other things that are impacting on your studies outside of university, then start to talk to someone. And also think about things outside of study, enjoyable things, catching up with friends and doing exercise, and being kind to yourselves as well. So some of the services that we have at university, one of them is Oasis. That's an organisation that organises activities across the university. They have a room or an area up in the main campus where they put on social activities. They have volunteering opportunities for the community market, which I'll talk a moment about. They've got informal meeting spaces where you can meet as students. They run yoga and meditation classes. They've got prayer rooms, and they've got places you can go and just debrief or just find a quiet space on campus. There are lots of clubs and societies, and one of them you might be interested in is the Flinders Uni Nutrition Club, which is called Funk. Have we got someone coming? Yeah, and Christabeth. She is coming to talk about that. There's also some Facebook pages. FUSA is the student, Flinders University Student Association, so they are very much a student focused group. Oasis is sports and fitness. There's also a Facebook page to buy and sell textbooks, so that's worth having a look before you go and buy a new textbook. And Funk as well has a Facebook page. Olivia's talked about our flow page that we have, and I've posted a message on there, a little video as a welcome, so you can have a look at that. Some of the other study resources that are on that page are some study resources. So these are things that you might not need right now, but it's useful to know they're there, and it might be a useful opportunity now as you're sort of getting to know your way around the flow and the university in general. Take note of some of those resources which you think might be useful for you in the future. So there's things like English writing skills, particularly if English is not your first language, or you struggle with English grammar at school. You love the science but not so good with the English. There are study guides there. And academic writing skills. So a lot of the reports that you do or the essays you write will require academic writing, so not writing in colloquial language. And there's a skill in doing that, and so there are resources to help you with that. Studiosity is another fantastic service which many students don't take the opportunity of. Imagine you've written an essay and you can actually hand that to someone. They will proofread it for you. They're not for the content, but for the grammar and the structure, and give you some comments and some feedback. And you have to do that within 24 hours. There's no point doing it an hour before the deadline. But if you're organised enough, that's a great resource. Have someone with expert skills to proofread your assignments or work. There's a whole range of mental fitness resources, so it's an introduction to mental fitness, building new study habits. For many people, if you haven't studied for a while, or you've come straight from school, coming to university is quite different because you really have to be in charge of your own timetable. You don't necessarily have a teacher there that's giving you those reminders all the way along. Your lecturers and tutors will be there to support you, but you'll be doing a lot more independent learning. So there's various mental fitness resources that can help you with some of the stresses that come along. So it might be even something like speaking in public. You'll be doing some public speaking, you'll be presenting in class projects or work that you've done to your peers and possibly to other students. So have a look to see if there's any mental fitness resources that might be useful. There's also the health and counselling services, the contacts for those, and the student supports there. There are access plans, so for anyone that isn't aware, if you do have some sort of medical condition or mental health issue, or you might develop a problem in the future, or you might have physical or mobility issues there, if you make an appointment with health and counselling services, they can then negotiate with you, come up with a plan, and you might be able to then have extra time to do exams or assignment extensions. There's also the Elite Athlete Program, so that's for anyone that represents South Australia or national or internationally are travelling or needing some time off for your sport. If you join the Elite Athlete Program, you're eligible to do that. They also provide sports, training, allied health supports that you can access through that program, and conditioning coaches as well. Olivia's talked to you a little about career, and it's important for you. You've got 3 years of study. It's still important you start thinking about the direction that you want your career to go and looking for those extra activities outside of your actual specific topics. So there are opportunities to volunteer through STEW, which is our Students Eat Well program, which I'll talk about in a moment, or opportunities to volunteer in the community or with local businesses. I've got a son and a daughter currently at university, and they have outside of university have approached people in their fields of architecture and fashion marketing to say, well, can I do an internship? They've actually decided what they want out of an internship, approached businesses and said, can I provide, help you with some work, volunteering that for free, both of those have now secured internships, and they've got another 1 or 2 years of study to go. But from that, they've developed some part-time work, and they've got some connections in the industry. So it's worth thinking about some of those connections and volunteering and things that you can put on your CV that expand just not your academic skills, that you have a whole range of skills. There's also peer mentoring, something that you can be involved with, but the Horizon Award. So that is an award that you can be involved with a whole range of activities and accumulate points towards a Horizon Award. And that's something that you can have on your CV at the end to say that you've been part of this program. And the Horizon Award provides you with opportunities to do a whole range of things. So I won't talk much about that, but you can, there's a link on the Flow site to have a look at that as well. So some opportunities for you to volunteer at uni are, you could be a course management committee rep. Now this is your first day here, so you're not really in a position to think about how you can be a representative, but towards the end of this semester, there's a course management committee which Olivia is part of, and so they're looking for feedback from you as first years. So we need reps to actually surveying students to give some feedback on the topics that you're doing and some of the suggestions to improve it, what things that went well, some challenges and some just general feedback to improve the courses that we do. And that's a thing that you could do to have on your CV. You can contact Olivia if you want to be a course management rep for first year students. The Students Eat Well program is a peer nutrition education, so it's about nutrition students providing nutrition activities to other students on campus. Develops early skills in nutrition and health, promotion and communication, and it can be from any student that has nutrition as part of their studies can opt in. So it gives you an opportunity to increase your skills in nutrition, increase social connection, and to increase your competency in providing nutrition promotion programs. So what I would be interested in is any of you that might be interested in this program. I do some training for it, and the things I cover in training are food handling and food hygiene, how to present, things regarding behaviour change. If we would like people to change their eating habits, then it's good for us to know some of those theories around the steps that people go through. If someone wants to stop smoking, they go through often a series of changes to change that behaviour. It's the same with changing their nutrition habits. How to do a cooking demo. Now, a cooking demo is not as easy as it looks, because you're actually trying to be demonstrating what you're cooking and physically concentrating on the ingredients and cooking things without burning them and speaking at the same time. So that's something that you get an opportunity to do, and I'll talk about mentoring as well. So some of the things that we do get involved with is the community's, the Flinders community market. This is a market where you can buy and sell food. The food bank donate food, and it's an opportunity where there are many students on campus who are food insecure. So it means that some weeks they don't have enough food, which, how many of you are surprised by that? None of you surprised, okay. I was surprised when I first heard there are people on campus that are food insecure. So this is an opportunity for them to get some food that's been donated, but also once a month there is an opportunity for some of you to be involved in giving a cooking demonstration. So choosing some of those foods from the food bank and doing a cooking demonstration, and people get to taste it. Other things that you can get involved in are our open days for school students, and we provide specific nutrition activities. It might be guessing the type of grain, or looking at the number of teaspoons of sugar that are in a particular food product. And so we provide you a bit of training in that, and you provide those nutrition activities. We'll probably do a nutrition promotion for Nutrition Week. These things didn't happen last week because of COVID, so hopefully they will go ahead this week. Any of these things you'd like to be involved with, come and see me afterwards. If you'd like, I'll put a call out for STU training, or you can come and see me and put your name down today, and I can tell you a bit more about that. So this is a stall that we had in past years for Nutrition Week. We have it at the university, promoting nutrition to other students on campus. We also have Flinders Village, where a lot of our international students live, and one of the things we did last year is we did a supermarket tour to help students familiarise themselves with Australian foods and make some healthy choices. So lastly, I just want to talk about our peer mentor program. So can I invite our mentors to come up? This is, I have allocated all of you to a mentor, and I'm going to put your names up on the screen. This is an an opt-out program, so although you've been allocated a mentor, it's not compulsory, and you can engage as much as or as little as you would like with the program. So we've got Theodora here, we've got Amy and Abby. We've got a fourth mentor who's actually a Singaporean student who's stuck in Singapore. She couldn't come back. And I've actually allocated people based on their geographical areas. So I've looked at all your addresses and allocated you to either a north or northeastern group, a western group and a southern group, depending on where you live geographically, with the hope that you might want to get together with your mentor outside of university in that area. And then if you actually had a Victorian or a country address, or if you live in the hills but quite a long way away, I've actually put you with Joanna. If you'd like to change, if you have actually moved to somewhere closer to the city and you'd like to move to another group, let me know afterwards. So what can our mentors provide for you? They've really been through what you are going through now. So they are a great resource to how to navigate the university and the system. And they're the people that you can ask those dumb questions to that you feel like you might not want to ask us. We're happy to have dumb questions, but sometimes you don't always want to ask those. And actually being in first years, being in a large group of other science students and not having a lot of face-to-face opportunities, it's more difficult to feel connected with the university. So having a mentor and meeting together a group of you with a mentor gives you an opportunity to meet each other as well. Now what I've done is I've asked them if they could give you one very quick tip that they could give you if they were in your shoes this time last year. So,
hey guys, so I'm no stranger to the uni life. I've been at uni for over 5 years now. The one thing that I was worried about when starting this degree was the heavy load of science topics. I hadn't done a science topic since like year 8 high school, so I was a little bit worried about that. But what I found was after leaving the chemistry laboratories and workshops, if I didn't feel like I understood something to the best of my ability, I would ask, and if I still didn't feel like I understood it, I would go home and find like crash courses on YouTube. And I found that when like someone else was explaining it a little bit differently, I was able to understand it a little better, and the visuals they showed were really good, so that's what I would recommend.
excellent.
Hi everyone. I would say start early, organise yourself and keep on top of it, because by week 4 you'll find that you're bogged down in work and you'll be thanking yourself later for when exams come.
Hello everyone. My advice would probably be, it will sound a bit silly, but to actually learn the content. I think when it gets to week 4 and you're really struggling, you've got a lot going on, all you're trying to do is get through the lectures, write down all the notes, but you're not actually taking it in. You're just striving for that high grade. What I found was the best advice was to actually take it in, learn the content, be interested in it, because I figure we are all interested in nutrition, because otherwise we probably wouldn't be doing this. So just listen to it as you're interested in it and not just trying to get the high grade, and after that the high grades will follow because you've taken in that advice.
Thanks, that's some great advice there. And if your name hasn't come up so far, Joanna's group, if you prefer to be in one of the other groups, let me know if your name's not there at all. So hopefully you've picked up which of is your mentors.
Yep. Great. Thank you so much for coming in, mentors. I know you guys are busy with your own workload. We've got some coffee vouchers for you there.
The mentors will be around, so if you can try and find your mentor afterwards and have a quick chat and a hello, they'll be doing coffee.
So I reckon that might be a good place to ask for any questions. I hope we haven't just put the fear of God into you all. It is a great degree that obviously no one's going to lie to you. It is going to be hard work at times, but I think that is where, as they were saying, get organised, try to come to the lectures as and when they're scheduled and the tutorials. Try not to let things stack to the end of the week and then find that the next week's already started and you haven't gotten through the content from the previous week. Because while you might be able to do that for a little while, come towards the end of semester and exam time or assignment due dates, it's all going to sort of come on top of you, and that's when we get the panicked emails and the extension requests, and then you're working into your semester breaks and you don't get any time off. So staff are always willing to work with you, to work around extensions if you need them, to work around trying to help you manage your workload where possible. But I once had a manager say to me in one of my part-time jobs during uni, if you're going to come to me with a problem, maybe try and come to me with a possible solution too. It just shows me that you're thinking about it. You're not looking for someone to fix the problem for you. We might be able to come up with a better solution than the one you've come with, but at least have a think about what you would like. So if you're struggling with your workload and you want to talk to your coordinator or your topic coordinator about it, we're always open door to talk about those, but maybe you have a little idea of what's going to help you first so that we can work with that plan. So is it more time? Is it more understanding of the topic? Is it that you need to sit down with a mentor? Is it you need some sample text? have a think about what it is that you need, because this is an independent learning experience. No more school, I'm sorry. A lot less hand-holding in uni. But it's also very exciting because you guide your own learning in that respect. Any questions at all so far? Who's feeling a little overwhelmed? Okay. Who's feeling excited and can't wait to get going? A few of you? Good. Got a question?
Who else is doing the combined degree, or is it just me?
You're not the only one. So I think we've got about 10 from the last check I did. Can you believe there is not a list I can run with all of your names on it? I have to run my Bachelor of Human Nutrition list, and I have to go and look at the exercise science list and see if I can find matching names. So apologies if I've missed anybody, but I believe there's 10. Hands up who's in the combined degree? Erin's. So if you want to have a look around the room, Erin, we've got a few faces there. You might want to meet each other for a quick coffee after the session. If I didn't give you a coffee voucher, come and find me after the orientation. But there will be several others as well. And remember that Exercise Science have a 2 o'clock orientation this afternoon, which ideally you would go to, and I'll be going along to, and you'll meet some more Exercise Science peeps there. So you have the benefits of 2 cohorts to get to know. So you're the lucky ducks, so it's all good. Any other questions so far? No? Got some stuff to do. Yeah.
How many students is this everyone?
No, so this isn't everyone today. So we've got about 60 to 62 first year. So I think 2 of them might be people that have come across from other degrees and who are going to straddle first and second year. So possibly why they're not on the orientation list. So about 60 new admissions. A few people are stuck interstate overseas, and some people just maybe it wasn't convenient to come in today, who we'll try and catch up with afterwards. But you'll tend to find that some of the classes you're going into this year, although online, the lectures might have hundreds online, particularly some of the sort of first year topics which are shared with a lot of courses. But then obviously your pracs and tutorials will be small groups again. But you might find that you're in groups with other students outside of nutrition. In fact, I would guarantee it, I would have thought. Which is kind of cool again, get to meet lots of new people. And for a very heavily female topic course, it's kind of nice to be mixed up with some of the other courses. Get a bit of testosterone in there. Thank you, gentlemen, for offering that to us today. Any other questions? Ooh, a couple? Yeah. Okay, so transferring into dietetics. Did you say medicine as well? Or? Okay, so do you mean during or on completion or right away? A bit further down the line. Okay, so currently the human nutrition degree is set up with a lateral transfer option and a master's option for dietetics. So it is quite unique, the lateral transfer. So what happens is that towards the end of second year, Jolene and I hold an information session for students looking to apply to move into third year of nutrition and dietetics. If you have completed or looking to complete by the end of second year the full 2 years of BHN, none of third year, or only the 2 years, and this is why it's important if you've gone part-time and mixed and matched topics, this might have implications for lateral transfer. So you need to have completed the full 2 years of the BHN. It's then an application process and a GPA. So it's competitive, and the number of places they can transfer across is dependent on a number of things. So I think usually it's in the region of around 8 students that go across typically. Often there's more applications than that. The second option is finishing the Bachelor of Human Nutrition and applying for a master's. If you already have a degree, an undergraduate degree, and this is your second undergraduate degree, the third option is that you're not eligible for lateral transfer. You would need to do the prerequisite topics for masters, and you would just do those topics, and then you could apply for masters with a GPA. So there's a few options there. And similarly for the medical program, that would be getting to the end of your human nutrition degree and applying for the graduate entry. And you would just need to look at what the conditions are around GPA and that sort of thing. But our core topics all meet their entry requirements once completed. Just got one question behind you.
With the study support and studio, is that
Studiosity is under the Student Learning Centre, and I believe there's also a link to it on the Nutrition and Dietetics homepage, Jane, from memory. Yeah, I think it's in a block on the bottom of the page. But if you search for it in the Flinders website, you'll find it, and the Student Learning Centre. An Octa? Oh, perfect. Oh, perfect. There's actually an app link straight from your Octa homepage. So have you all logged into your student systems? You've all found Octa? We have it as well, but ours look a little bit different to yours. Great. So pretty much everything you need, I think, should be in that Octa space. Okay. Okay. Yeah, great. Ali?
I just wanted to follow on from the previous question. How many years would it have if you did the Masters?
Of Dietetics?
Yeah, like rather than the transfer.
Okay, so lateral transfer means you do 2 BHN years and 2 undergrad Bachelor of Nutrition Dietetics degrees, so 4 years total, 5 years if you do an undergrad and a Masters. Yeah. Which is similar to some of the other allied health programs who, say for example, physio, they might do a health science degree and a 2-year physio Masters, but as a combined. Okay. Alright. I'll come back for more questions in a moment. I've got Christabeth and Kirsty here from some of the associations that you might be interested in participating in while you're here at Flinders. So ladies, would you like to come down? So we might have Christabeth chat first. She arrived first, so she might need to get away. So Christabeth is the incoming chair outgoing chair, Secretary of Funk. So she's going to have a little chat to you about what that is and how you might like to get involved. Maybe while we're doing that, shall I show the video?
Yeah, go for it. That sounds like a really good option. While you've got the link there, hopefully you have sound.
I checked, it was
Thank
there.
you. Very good.
So let's just hope it works again now.
Yep, that's right. But if anybody isn't impressed, enrolled or worried at all, if you do want to pop into the front office after this, it is near the cafe where you've got your coffee voucher. If you want to get it sorted today, we can do that for you as well.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you.
I'm Hugo.
My name's Vivek, and we are the co-president of FIRS.
So FIRS is Flinders University Rural Health Society, and FIRS is all about giving students the opportunity who have an interest in rural or country practice to get it exposed to it. So we run events all out the year, which is all about getting you guys a little taste of the country.
So some of the events that we run throughout the year are like our rural high school visits, where we go out to rural high schools and talk to students there and tell them about the degrees that we're studying. A great thing about it as well is you also get to see lots of attractions the state has to offer, like the Big Orange out in the Riverland and the painted silos at Canalpin. Other events we run as well are experiences of the Royal Flying Doctors, where some people even get to go on the ride-along program with them. We always have our plastering night and wilderness health night, where we have the snake catchers come and have a talk and tell and show us all the snakes that they catch over the years. We've got a quiz night coming up this year, as well as the new Riverland camp. So great things coming.
So enough of us talking about it. How about you hear about the experience from new graduated past FIRS members?
Hi everyone, my name's Alison and I'm a speech pathologist working with Country Health in the Riverland. I've been here for 12 months now after graduating from Flinders in 2019. And during my time at Flinders, FIRS was a huge part of my whole university experience. I started out as the discipline rep for speech pathology, and then in my 3rd year I had the opportunity to be the co-president for Allied Health. And if I had to pick my best experience from my time with FIRS, it would probably be a combination of all the rural high school visits. So I had the chance to go out to Renmark a couple of times and also to Mount Gambier. And these visits are where you go out with a bunch of other FIRS members to a rural town either for a day or overnight and I guess present to rural high school students, encouraging them to come to uni and study a health degree and sharing what you love about your degree. But at the same time you just get to meet a whole bunch of other uni students from different health degrees and get to know what they're studying, but also just have a bit of fun. I think either way, if you sort of know that you want to work somewhere rural after you graduate, or if you just want to meet some other people while you're studying at uni, either way I think joining FIRS would be a great idea.
Hello there, my name's Sam. I'm currently just an everyday member of FIRS, but in the past, in 2019, I was the co-president of medicine, currently a final year medical student and also the president of the Flinders Medical Student Society. I decided to join FIRS in my first year of uni because I was interested in rural health. I grew up in a semi-rural location and was pretty keen to sort of get involved in that throughout medical school, and it seemed like a really friendly bunch of people. My favourite experience with FIRS, it's pretty hard to actually think of what the best one was. There's quite a few. I think probably the RFDS experience, where you get to go up with the Royal Flying Doctor Service and see what they do for the day and sit in the plane and see what happens at the base. I thought that was pretty amazing. But I also really enjoyed some of the other events like Wilderness Health Night, and even just getting to meet a bunch of like-minded sort of students was a really great experience, especially the fact that it was multidisciplinary, so it was all of health. Sort of got me just out of being just in the medical sphere and getting to meet a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of really, really interesting degrees. In terms of where I see myself going in the future, I'm pretty keen in a career in rural medicine. I got to spend my third year in the Barossa Valley, which is sort of like semi-rural, and had a really great time there, and pretty keen to go back to working in that kind of environment. And I suppose I really got a lot out of FIRS in my, well, not done with my time there, but over the past 4 years, I definitely learned a lot more about rural health. I learned a lot about sort of like the inequalities in rural health and what we can do as students to really work on that. I got to go to the NRHSN National Council and meet up with a whole lot of other sort of enthusiastic and like-minded students, and they taught me a lot, and it was a really interesting experience. And I also, like I said, I got to meet so many different people around the uni from so many different degrees that I wouldn't have ever had a chance to interact with otherwise, and they've been a really great bunch of my friends. So yeah, it's been a really great experience, and I definitely recommend you join up.
So if you'd like to become a member of FIRS, register at the NRHSN website, and if you want to keep up to date with all our events and what we've got going on, follow us on Facebook.
Is it playing again?
So that was probably a pretty good summary of what the club's about. We are really lucky. We're a federally funded club, so that means that all the events we offer you are either free or really low cost. This year we've got the plans to have a rural land camp, which is really exciting. And it gives you an opportunity to catch up with lots of different people across all sorts of disciplines, and we have a lot of fun events. So hopefully you might want to come and join us.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Thanks for coming along.
Sounds pretty good. I'm kind of wishing I had the opportunity when I was at uni. Thanks so much for coming along. I'm now going to hand you over to Christabeth to talk to you about funk, and then we can answer any more questions you may have.
Hi everyone, so I'm Christabeth. I'm the outgoing secretary from FUNK for 2020. So who are we? So FUNK is a non-exclusive social club for students across nutrition degrees. So nutrition, dietetics, human nutrition, BHN and exercise science. If you've got friends who are not in nutrition degrees but are so interested in food and people who love cooking and everything, feel free to invite them along. So we have social events throughout the year. These are some of the events we would have had last year but were cancelled because of COVID. So we have things like soup drives and bake sales, which are fundraisers for Food Embassy, which is our it's an organization we donate to, which works on workshops and food security. We also have a welcome breakfast that is coming up soon. I'll talk about it later, as well as a nutrition ball and a pub crawl. We usually have these events just so that you can just unwind after a long busy semester and meet other students like yourself. Just get to know each other. So you can follow us on our Facebook page. The public one is the one on the left, the bigger one. That's where you'll get up-to-date things like if there are events or opportunities of volunteering, you can head on there and check it out. We've also got a private Facebook group which we would highly encourage you to join. if you just search FUNK 2021, the reason there is because there are first picks, things like voting per event, when are you most available for. We want to give you the first preference, especially for first come, first serves. So for welcome breakfast, we are thinking of having it in the second week of March, but we want it to be such that everybody who can make it can come along. So please do join that group and vote on your availability. That would be great. So welcome breakfast will be held in conjunction with our annual general meeting because we weren't able to have it last year because of COVID. So we're gonna be having free food. It'll be grind and press hopefully, and then you'll be able to meet each other, have a chat. It'll be outside of the classroom, so you can actually unwind a bit more. And we are also looking for a president or co-presidents for this year. It doesn't matter if you're first year. There are two second years, third years who are currently on the team, so they'll be able to take you through. And the outgoing committee will also be very happy to just walk you through what we usually do, how to do it, and we'll just help you. It's a good opportunity for you to grow, especially in first year because you've got a less workload, so it'll be a good chance for you to do this thing. Yeah, thank you. If you've got any questions, shout out.
Any more questions so far? No? It's all sounding okay? Thank you so much for coming along. No worries. We're almost there, and you guys can go and grab that coffee because I'm sure you'll need it. So there's a couple more things just to talk to you about. Normally we would have careers come down in a minute, but Meg, who normally presents, is at another commitment this morning. So she's actually put her session together as a video. So what I might do is post that video for you on the Flow site to watch. It's about 17 minutes long, and I'm just aware we're probably in the most uncomfortable lecture theatre in the entire of the university. So I might not make you sit through that video. You're welcome to go and check it out. It will talk about the Horizon program that Jane spoke about, and just starting to think about career options even from now in terms of how to align topic elective choices, volunteering opportunities, mentoring, parts of clubs. They're all good examples of leadership and participation in the nutrition field. If you are thinking about doing lateral transfer into nutrition and dietetics, the other thing to mention is that the application for that does talk about your commitment to nutrition, what extracurricular things you have done that would set you apart from other students, that shows a passion for why you want to go into dietetics. So the application at the moment I think is worth 30% of the ranking, with your GPA being the remaining. So it is something to think about if you may want to go in that direction. Outside of the uni, there's also professional organisations that you can join. So for the combined degree students, your exercise science component of your degree is governed by ESSA, and there's a number of other organisations that you can get involved with who are important to your professional identity as exercise scientists, and we'll talk about those this afternoon. For us nutritionists, we have the NSA, or Nutrition Society of Australia. How many of you have heard of them already? Oh, good, a few of you, excellent. We have an Adelaide branch, and it is a national body across Australia, and each state and territory has its own branch. So of the Adelaide branch, it's actually me that is one of the co-conveners for that branch, along with Alison Hill, who is a lecturer over at UniSA in the nutrition program. NSA is a fantastic organisation. Now, I forgot to tell you a little bit about me when we first got started. I was in such a hurry to get into the PowerPoint. So my credentials are that I'm actually a dietitian. So I've been I qualified in the UK, so been a member of the UK professional organisations for dietetics. Then moved across here, became a member of Dietitians Association of Australia, now DA, and then also joined NSA, and hence now working more in a nutrition rather than dietetics field, I tend to preference events with NSA over DA. And I have to say, the Nutrition Australia events are amazing. They're so much better, than Dietitians Australia. Sorry, DA. The nice thing about the NSA events is that they bring together so many different people from different work environments. So if you want to rub shoulders with people that work at SAMRI or CSIRO or in industry, you might also be rubbing shoulders with dietitians, but also a number of people that are working as food scientists or nutritionists. The NSA event's the way to go. they're cheaper, and they're usually a lot more social. So each year we'll have things like an annual dinner, which is themed to the topic of the speakers. We have seminars, we have an AGM, and usually for students they might be sort of $5 or $10, so quite cheap. And membership is not horrific, but even as a non-member, cost of attending is quite low. So NSA has a very broad membership, and it is invested in promoting nutrition scientists and nutritionists. So in the States, we meet in our local groups for events here, but we also hold a number of online national events. So last year we had a national careers event for nutrition students all across Australia with speakers from across Australia. It's the first time we've done that collaboratively rather than doing it in our individual pockets. Jane was actually key in organising that event, and it was excellent, wasn't it? I think the students really found it so rewarding to talk to people that weren't just from SA, people that were working in industry in other states, to get a real flavour of what nutritionists are doing around the country. NSA also has a register of nutritionists, and this is to try and help protect our credential as qualified nutritionists with a tertiary degree, and they are doing a lot of lobbying with industry to have them understand the difference between our qualification and the certificates that can be done online, which really don't qualify anyone to do much more than talk about the healthy eating pamphlet. So there's a lot more scope to what we can do with our training. There is a student membership. The other thing that student membership will give you is the eligibility to apply for scholarships, for awards, to attend the conferences. The conferences are usually really broad nutrition concepts as well, not super clinical like DA. So it is a really good opportunity to get involved and to do some professional networking. So how to join? It's online. You join, you complete an online form, and the membership, I think last time I checked, was around $85 for the year, and it is a tax deduction if you do your taxes. So events that we may have coming up, so we may have a fermented foods event coming up. That's just under discussion at the moment on how we will deliver that. We have our annual dinner in July. And the other thing that you might hear me put a call out for is Science Alive. Has anyone been to Science Alive? Yeah, a few of you. So it's a 3-day event, 1 day for schools and 2 days for general public. So NSA normally has a stand there. We have a number of interactive activities that we've set up ourselves. We all volunteer our time to man it, and we put a call out to the unis for students to come help us man it as well. So something else good to put on your horizon or award or CV. So look out for that. That tends to be in early August, so we put a call out probably in July for helpers for that. So this is normally where we would talk careers, but as I said, Meg is not available. Just keep an eye on time. Has anyone seen the Career Hub widget on your Okta? Yeah, a few of you have. So when you go into that, you can start personalising your preferences. There is a whole section for nursing and health science, as you can see. So you would go into that purple tab, nursing and health science, and in there you would find a nutrition specific section. So what Meg does is she often emails us about interesting jobs that students or graduates might be interested in. So sometimes there's part-time work going for nutrition assistants, for example. Might be some volunteer work. She'll let us know and we'll send that out to you, but she'll also post it in the Career Hub. They send out newsletters, they can help you write your CV, they can help you start thinking about professional development even now. So in terms of things you might like to do to stand yourself aside from the person sitting next to you when you get 3 years down the line and start looking for a job. So I won't play the video today, as I said it's a little bit long, but I will post that up on Flow for you and send an announcement so you can find where it is. So where do you start leaving today? How many of you sorted out your parking? A few of you. So we have this electronic monitored parking now, so having to do the electronic sign-in or purchasing a permit for the year, or train or bus. How many of you logged into Flow? How many of you don't know what Flow is? Okay, so luckily that was the minority. So Flow is going to be where all of your topics sit. So each topic will have its own cover page, and once you get into it, we'll have all the information pertaining to your topic. You should be able to see most of your topics now when you go into the flow pages for them. Just remember that us academics have one more week to get that up and running, so some of us might have a lot of it blanked out or hidden at the moment while we just scramble to get it finished up and updated. So there'll be bits and pieces. You might find that some have more information open than others right now, but it will be ready for next week. Different topics will operate in different ways. Some of them will lay the whole topic out for you to look at all in one go. Some of them will open it week to week according to when you need it. What you do need to check for though is how your lectures are being delivered. I would imagine probably online. What times they're being delivered, whether they're being recorded, which they should be, and then if they've got their assessment information updated, you can have a look at what the assessment information says as well. And they'll take you through all of that in your first session with them. Now is a really good time to engage with library workshops and flow workshops. So if you're struggling to navigate flow, there are lots of videos on how to do that. There's referencing videos and support, there's academic writing support. But for all of you that are enrolled in the Research and Study Skills 1 topic this semester, as we should be, they will also talk to you about referencing and academic writing in that topic. There is a Lost on Campus app if you're struggling to find your way to the various rooms. I know that the labs and pracs, they tend to be more up the hill, whereas the nutrition topics tend to be more based in the health science buildings nearer the hub or in FMC. And how many of you have booked in for some O-Week activities? I'm assured there's food and drink in the stir area across the rest of the day, so make sure you engage with that, and plenty up the hill as well. Oh, your timing is perfect, Louisa. So I'd like to just welcome to finish up. So I realise you're all exhausted and having a bit of meltdown in the brain department right now, just with all this information we've bombarded you with. Louisa's just going to close us out on the session and talk to you about overseas study opportunities. So something that's not available until later in your studies in third year, but something to keep an eye out for and look forward to. Particularly if you get a bit bogged down with the science this year, just remember the light is coming. Lots of exciting topics coming. So I'm going to hand you over to Louisa to talk to you about that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. My name's Louisa Matviacic. I'm the Senior Lecturer with Nutrition and Dietetics, and I'm just going to take up 5 minutes of your time to talk about what's called the Mobility Program. So I'm out of breath because I walked from the highest point on the main campus to get here on time. Excuse me. So the Mobility Program is an opportunity to do self-directed placement overseas, and we offer it as part of the final year topic called Independent Studies in Nutrition. It's worth 4.5 units, and the 3 countries that we send students to are Vanuatu, Indonesia and the Philippines. So in second year, we put out a call towards the end of the year of anyone who might be interested in doing an overseas placement. So the placements are usually between 3 and 4 weeks, and each of them are different, but they're all what's called underserved communities. So in those countries, they have significant nutrition problems, nothing like we see here in Australia. And most of the people who work in nutrition are nutritionists who work on the ground. So it's a different model to here. And in those countries, things like wasting and stunting are very common. So there are children, like 40% of children, who will experience this. And the thing with undernutrition, with stunting and wasting, is that kids don't outgrow it, it's permanent damage. So when I was in Indonesia, a group of us were standing outside on the main street, and these 3 young girls came up to us to practice their English, and we thought they were about 8 or 10 years of age. They were 21, 22 and 23. So they're examples of how they haven't had the nutrition when they were young and they were stunted, and that's associated with affects their brain development, physical development, employment and their quality of life. So significant problems. So these placements enable you to spend some time in the community, and in the Philippines it's going out to a project site and buying all the food in the market, cooking the food for children, up to 30 children every day for lunch, and it's part of a feeding supplementary program, and then doing some basic education with the kids. In Vanuatu, you work with an agency there called One Small Bag, and they also do a feeding program, but with adults as well as kids, and lots of other initiatives around nutrition. And in Indonesia, it's different again because you enrol in a public health topic with a university there in Yogyakarta, and the researchers come and talk to you about the work that they're doing on the ground with vitamin D and calories, etc. And you go to all of the different villages and sites and see what it's like. Some of the like outpatient clinics where they see people with goiter, with the iodine deficiencies. And you also do another project and buddy with other nutritionists in the university during this stay. So hopefully it's really exciting, it's transformational experience, it's absolutely fantastic. And to support people to do this, if you wanted to do it, we have secured a number of scholarships from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Training, DFAT, of about $3,500, which covers flights, accommodation, and what we pay to the host organisations who support you. As well as the scholarships, people can also apply for an Oz loan, which is up to $8,500. That gets added onto your HECS so that you can go overseas and have this opportunity. And the only other thing to add to it is that part of the purpose of it is seeing what, experiencing nutrition in other countries that you will not ever have an opportunity to do here in Australia. But also it's a cultural immersion opportunity of immersing yourself in another culture. And food is such a large part of it. So in the Philippines, you actually live with a host family in a very poor part of the Philippines, in Tacloban City, which I stayed in the house for a week with a family of 16. It's a very different setup to what we have here. And in Indonesia, you stay in a student hostel. So in Yogyakarta, it's Muslim, so females are separated from the males, and so you stay in student hostel that their students stay in as well. And in Vanuatu, you stay in not a ritzy resort, sort of middle ground resort, but you do that placement with the exercise science students, and a lot of the work there is with the Hockey Association and the sports groups. So that in a nutshell is the mobility program, so keep it in mind. I mean, it sounds like a long way away, it's for a final year topic, but you'll be surprised how quickly time goes. And even next year, towards the end of the year, we put a call out to ask if anybody's interested in applying. And that's it.
Does anyone have any questions for Louisa about that? No, just one.
Is that available if you transfer into dietetics?
So for dietetics students?
Yeah, so for people who transfer into dietetics in third year, this topic, ISP, Independent Studies Projects, is offered in the final year for dietetics students as well. So it's in the fourth year, and the Bachelor of Human Nutrition students and the dietetics students go together on to the countries. Usually it's in groups of at least 4, maybe up to 6 at a time.
Anyone else? No? I think everyone's a bit overwhelmed, Louisa.
It seems a long time away.
It does.
But if you just remember me, Louisa, with the unpronounceable surname, you can email me or talk to me and ask about this anytime. Quite a number of us are really enthusiastic about it. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's a life-changing event.
It is.
If you can do it, it's amazing.
Yeah, I feel so privileged that I was able to do it when I started at university. So, and I might see you in the second year topic, so you can also talk to me then about it.
So Louisa coordinates independent ISP, ISP and ISEP. Individual, social, environmental perspectives in food consumption. In second year, so you'll see Louisa in that one.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming all the way
That's
down.
my pleasure.
All right, so I think that has us finished up. Some beautiful pictures here that we put together last time. Casey is the other lecturer who's heavily involved in mobility program, but she's just had a baby, so she won't be around this year. You'll maybe see her around a little bit more next year. We're done. You're free. You can go forth and purchase coffee and yummy food. I'll hang around, as will the mentors. If you want to ask us anything, Jane will be here for a few minutes. Otherwise, have a brilliant first year. You'll hear from me shortly with some more updates on remembering to enrol into the right topics, and I'll see you across the year. Thanks for coming.